Hello, hello, gorgeous souls, and welcome to day 4 of our Thrive Challenge. 5 days to come back, recenter, overcome burnout, and to reclaim your health, your energy, and your focus, and supercharge your life. So, really excited to share with you our fourth step in the process. But before we do that, we're just going to go into a quick recap of what we've covered off on the last 3 days. So number one, step one was to listen to your body, remembering that your body is a messenger for your soul. It's constantly giving you feedback of what needs to shift or change emotionally, mentally, or physically within your life in order to be happy, abundant, and sustainable. It's remembering that your body is literally telling you where you are out of alignment. If you have got challenges with your shoulders or pain in your shoulders, you're living in over responsibility. Thinking about like the burdens that we carry or the weight of responsibility or shouldering responsibility. If your spine is having issues, so you're having challenges with your back, it could be you're not allowing yourself to be supported, or you feel like you're over giving or over supporting others, or not allowing yourself to support yourself through the decisions that you're making. So all of the body really, is a messenger for the soul, and it gives us clues as to what's going on and where we need to shift or change our thinking or our emotions or our lifestyle, the way that we're actually living every single day. And of course, if you are burnt out, if you are exhausted, that is a major sign, a major symptom that you need to pause and you need to get super clear on what are the real things that's going on for you, and to really tune in and listen to your body's messages for sure. Number two is letting go of over responsibility. It's a huge one, pretty much for every single woman on the planet, I think, and certainly for anybody that has a huge heart and cares deeply about others and is super sensitive to others' energy or their feelings, and really, honestly, just has an intent of love and wants to make a big difference in the world. We can often drop into over responsibility for others, which means that we're stepping in and we're disempowering them to take responsibility for themselves. But often with that over responsibility, we take under responsibility for our own life, for our own health, our own well-being. And whilst that I am all about making a difference and certainly helping others, if that is at detriment to yourself, then it is not giving in a sustainable way. And it's very, very important to remember that. So remembering that when we step in, when we're overgiving, and particularly if you're experiencing that anger, that resentment of continually needing to pick up the pieces for others, that is a clear sign that you are feeling overly responsible or you're overgiving in those moments. And remembering that we do that for those three reasons: as a way of maintaining a sense of control or power or maintaining value, and wanting to be needed. And the other reason is because we never want to look like the bad guy, or be selfish. So there are three big blocks as to why people often stay in that over responsibility, and find it very, very difficult to unhook those patterns, and to overcome the deeply rooted beliefs that you are that you're responsible for others, particularly if you've experienced a high level of trauma in your life, or you've needed to be extra responsible for an adult in your life, namely a parent, particularly when you're a child, or you needed to take care of younger siblings as well, can also be where that plays out massively for a lot of women. And number three, of course, the manifesting matrix, which is the key to attracting and creating the results that you want in your life. And remembering that this naturally brings the body back into a state of balance. It creates greater and greater results in your life because you're aligning yourself emotionally, you're aligning yourself with your beliefs that empower you to have and create what it is that you want, and you're feeling amazing in your physical body by giving your body what it truly needs, not just throwing a whole bunch of supplements at it and hoping for the best, but truly giving your body exactly what it needs in order to come into biochemical balance and to restore your health and well-being. So let's jump in to our next one with living your truth. living your truth is one of the most important things. And in fact, I think it is what causes essentially probably about 80% of burnout. Although I could equally say the same thing with being overly responsible. And, of course, like not listening to our body. But authenticity can definitely be an overused word in today's world. However, it is one of the most important things to understand, particularly when it comes to burnout, because it is so exhausting to keep a mask up or to suppress our feelings, to suppress how we're really feeling. You imagine like that just takes so much energy on a day-to-day basis to pretend that you are someone that you're actually not, or that you no longer want to be. And again, this can play out obviously with over responsibility. And I'm not saying, for you, obviously, you've got to sit with this and find your own truth around this. Often there can be pockets or there can be areas, some people you may feel you can be completely yourself around, and other situations, circumstances, you may find that you feel like you can't be yourself. And this is what creates like a huge level of burnout for a lot of people. So obviously through being socialized as children, we're often taught to ignore or dismiss how we really feel or what we really want. We learn to please others in order to fit in, belong, be accepted, to be able to receive the love, the validation, the approval, and even, a level of care that we genuinely need and desire as a young child. We are hardwired. Our ego survival mind is hardwired to fit in, belong, and be accepted. Because if we don't, if you are not held, if you are not obviously touched, and when I say touched, like just physically held as a child, you actually will fail to thrive. They've done so many different experiments and studies on this over time, particularly for children in orphanages and children that are not picked up or held, particularly young babies, actually can even die. So this is how much we are hardwired to fit in, be accepted, to receive love, to receive validation, to be accepted, because our pure survival as a child depends upon this. And all of that's hardwired in, particularly from the ages of 0 to 7, when we do not have an analytical mind going, hang on a second, don't think that's the right thing for me. Where literally, all of that stuff is you're figuring out how the world works and you're taking it in on a hypnotic level simply because you do not have an analytical mind to judge that or to challenge that and go, hang on, I'm not sure that that's actually going to really help me live my best life. So, if you're skipping through the house one day and you're having fun and you're really excited, and mum or dad is stressed, they're tired, they're like, oh my gosh, would you just be quiet? In that moment, you learn to not be you. That in that moment, you learn you have to be quiet. You have to play it down, not be too loud, not be too bold, not be too out there. And again, so many people, including myself, I had to do loads of work around this myself, have a fear of being seen or a fear of being shining or having any form of attention, because as kids, often we see either ourselves or others get in trouble for the wrong thing, get attention for, getting called out, or particularly in class and things like that, where humiliation, things like that can really have us want to shrink or to hide, not want to express our fullest version of who we actually are. So we are neurologically hardwired to fit in and belong because our very base survival depends on this. Repressing and suppressing our true feelings and our true needs, wants, and desires takes tremendous energy. If you just think about the pressure in a shaken up Coke can, where all that energy is busting to get out, and if you've ever exploded or imploded, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. So it is truly exhausting. Huge amount of pressure can take place from that internalization of everything feeling so bottled up inside of you. And like I mentioned, this can end up as a big explosion or implosion. So either we express it outwardly and, create havoc in our relationships, and other people are like, my God, what is wrong with her today? Like, what's going on? Or we're yelling or screaming at our kids when we truly don't want to be, or perhaps our partner, we're acutely triggered because all of these internalized feelings that we've not worked through, all of these beliefs and even traumas, we're carrying those, and it's like they're an open wound on the skin. So when somebody like even just touches that, it actually drives the wound deeper if you've not taken the time to heal that and to get clear on what's actually going on. And internalized anger can eventually turn cancerous in our body. And this is honestly why this is so essential, why I want you tuning in, listening to your body, why when you're experiencing that anger and that resentment from overgiving and you feel completely depleted but don't know how to get off that hamster wheel, why this is so, so, so vitally important to reach out to get support, because I don't want you ending up in a situation where suddenly you're being faced with a diagnosis because you haven't listened to your body. You kept overgiving, you kept trying to give from an empty bucket, and you weren't expressing the truth of how you really felt, or you didn't feel that you had a voice where you could truly be heard. And so this is so important to be aware of. Like I mentioned before, it is also a major cause of burnout, pretending and trying to be someone or something that we're essentially not. It's one of the most draining things that we can do to ourselves, simply because it takes so much energy. And if you've ever experienced, even trying to be there for somebody or listening to somebody talk on the phone, and you really don't want to be there, and getting off the phone just going, oh my God, I'm exhausted. Like that is, it takes tremendous energy to do all of those things when it's not our actual truth. When you feel amazing within yourself, when you feel aligned in yourself, when you feel that your bucket is full, it's actually energizing to help somebody else, to do something for someone else. So I'm not saying that helping others is wrong in any sense of the word. I want to be clear on that. It's just when you're doing it from an empty bucket, it will continue to produce anger, because it is a major boundary violation, because your body is trying to protect itself and to preserve itself. So it's really important to have that distinction as well. So our relationships obviously, can feel really hollow and empty, and we can feel misunderstood and a deep sense of loneliness, because in truth they are not based on the full expression of you and who you really are. I certainly experienced this in my marriage from years ago. I was with my partner from 16 years on, and I certainly was not living authentically. I was very highly spiritual. I was very heavily invested in self-development and growth, and loved doing courses and different things, and felt exceptionally judged. And not only that, I ended up needing to hide a lot of the spiritual books that I was buying, because either I received criticism for wasting money on those things, even though he was investing a lot in alcohol and cigarettes every single week, but also, just complete humiliation, a lot of verbal, just emotional kind of things going on there, where I wasn't accepted for who I truly was. So I just made that all wrong. It wasn't like I didn't even see, that it was that I was with the wrong person. I literally had such little self-esteem left at that point, where it was just I made all of that so wrong and so bad within myself. And I ended up just becoming a shell of myself, because my internal fire of who I am and my passion for life and my joy for life was just slowly extinguished over time. And, it's awful lying in bed beside somebody and feeling so unbelievably lonely, like actually being married and feeling so ridiculously lonely. And I remember coming out of that situation and feeling so loved, so accepted, so happy, and so connected with myself, with life, with others. And I was completely single at the time. So your loneliness is absolutely, who you're spending time with, and are you living your own truth? And often it's because we've denied our own truth, where we're living separate from ourself, we're disconnected from ourself. That is actually what produces a sense of loneliness, rather than, and it can obviously be amplified by who we're spending time with as well. But when you feel connected with you, you will naturally attract people into your life that connect with you, that align with you, that have similar values to you. And, these days for myself personally, truly aligned in my partnership. We sit and we watch Gaia together, we watch wonderful documentaries, we explore all sorts of spiritual things together, as well as, have a great time physically. That sounds bad saying that, but I'm more meaning from a health active perspective. We love adventures. We love, and of course, we have an amazing intimate relationship as well, because we do have that really, really deep emotional and mental and physical and spiritual connection as well, of course. So, of course, all of those things that really, I wasn't going down that path, but since we did, it really results in incredible chemistry when you're aligned with who you are, when you feel relaxed and you can drop naturally back into your feminine energy as well. So we can end up feeling continually disappointed, and especially if we have not been able to firstly identify our own needs, and secondly, have the courage or the ability to express those needs in a way that they can truly be heard by those around us. And again, often it can be a conflict of needs if you are not in full alignment with your partner, if you both have very different values. And there can be a lot of pain associated with that as well, because we can often feel like, well, if they really loved me, they wouldn't be doing that. But the other person often feels, well, if they really loved me, they'd be cool with me doing this. So both parties feel very unloved and not accepted when we haven't come to our own internal truth and really looked at our relationship compatibility from that place of true authenticity as well. Our health suffers massively because there's so much energy that goes into creating and upholding this mask, pretending that we're okay. Remember, it's kind of like putting the smiley face on the empty fuel gauge. Like, that is exhausting. And sooner or later, the car's going to stop, right? Like, whether you're still pretending whether it's okay or not. So all of those things really, really massively important. There's a very real and personal cost to our health, and also with our finances, obviously, with any coping mechanisms that we're doing if we are not living our real authentic truth. Often there can be drinking, smoking, gambling, shopping, emotional eating, even being a workaholic as a way of avoiding intimacy can be a huge thing when we're not living our authentic truth. When you align yourself with who you really are and you live authentically to your own personal truth, life gets so much easier and so much more fun, I can promise you. And like I mentioned before, you will automatically attract people into your life who truly get you and truly understand you. You will feel empowered by those around you, supporting you to live your greatest life and to follow your dreams, because chances are they're going to have the same dreams or similar dreams to you, and really want to make sure that you're moving forward just the same as they will be as well. So you will feel an incredibly deep peace and soul deep joy that perhaps you've never experienced before. Life will feel free and full of endless possibilities for you to embrace and open up to. And coping mechanisms will drop away as you embrace, accept, and fall in love with your authentic self. And of course, your relationships will be deep, meaningful, and authentic, because they are going to be a reflection of the relationship that you have with you. You will unleash a true inner power and confidence and the full feeling of alignment that life brings you when you own your inner truth. So, when Lisa first approached me to work with her, she just wanted to double her income. And what she noticed, though, she was working and she was telling me, what she'd been trying to do in order to increase her income. She was working as much as she possibly could whenever her clients wanted her to, in an attempt to meet her income goal. And in truth, she wasn't being true to herself and what she truly wanted, because, doing all of that meant that she was away from her family that she loved. She was missing important meal times, her kids' milestones, and working on weekends and evenings. And she really had started to actually feel resentful and hate her business. She was getting annoyed at her clients because she felt like, well, I just have to be there and I just have to work in these hours. And she was extremely burnt out as well and tired. And that's really hard to find the energy to feel excited about your business, to feel aligned with your business, obviously, if all of that's going on. And so we adjusted her hours, and literally in a few short months, I think it was like 3 or 4 months, she had doubled her income and was working less hours. So I think that that is such a powerful example of, just one way that we may not be living our own personal truth of really what is aligned for us, what feels great for us, how we want to be living, and why it is that we want, the things that we want as well, and how we can actually do that. Often there can be beliefs in the way of, well, in order to earn money, I have to work really hard or I have to work really long hours. Obviously, that then where we feel conflicted, we feel that we've got to be pulled away from the family that we love. So overcoming those beliefs is critically important as well. But the real thing that really happened was as Lisa stepped into greater and greater authenticity, she actually realized that she'd been drinking to avoid a deep truth about herself and her life. And it was happening to avoid or to numb the pain that she was feeling at the time. And so, with new awareness and courage, she has totally transformed her life, and she's met her soulmate partner, bought her dream home, and created a business that she actually truly, truly loves. And that's given her the freedom to show up as the mum and the partner that she truly wanted to be and is now being, which is really exciting for her. And so, if you are not being 100% true to what is right for you, not only will you deplete and exhaust your own energy, you'll be sabotaging yourself and minimizing the true joy, vitality, happiness, and abundance that is available for you. So that takes us to the end of day 4. So if you have recognized this within yourself, that you are not living authentic to your own truth, that you find it hard to share your voice or to share your own personal needs, or perhaps you're like me, where you were living in a situation where you literally feel that you've just become a shell of yourself, you've totally lost yourself. I was very codependent at that time. I had no clue what that was. I didn't even know that I was being that way. Or so invested in trying to get love externally because I had very little self-esteem and pretty much very low self-love for myself at the time. And I didn't even know how to actually start to change any of that. So if that is where you are now, I promise you that there is a way out, there is a pathway out, and please send me a PM. Let's chat, see where you're currently at, what's going on for you, and what you'd like to create instead. It is so vitally important, not only for your own health and energy, but really, this is your life that we're talking about. This is setting you free to truly be who you are. And I acknowledge there's huge fears that can come up, particularly in this area. And, with good reason, from probably a lot of past references where you felt you've been judged, or you felt that you've been, ostracized, or perhaps even humiliated, or even a sense of shame around who we are. And I certainly have experienced that myself as well. And the more that you come back to your own truth, the more that you stand in your own self-love and really recognize your own powerful truth, you really do get to create a life that you love and find yourself in much more aligned relationships, both in friendships, work, business, and most certainly in intimate relationship. Have an amazing day. Loads of love. Bye for now.